Hey, what is up guys? Gian here of Gadget Pilipinas. Today we're going to take a look at these new amazing products from Xiaomi, the Xiaomi 12T and the Xiaomi 12T Pro. Now here's a quick unboxing of these two devices. What you get are the following things: the phone, a smaller box that contains manuals, SIM ejector tool and silicone case, a Type-C cable, and the 120 watts charger. Now let me quickly give you a rundown of the specs of these two devices and tell you my thoughts about the intended market for these ones. Ngayon, pag-usapan muna natin ang design ng dalawang devices. It is interesting to know that no matter what angle you look at these devices from, it will be challenging to spot the differences between the two until you take a look at what's written on the back or the camera cutout of each device. The Xiaomi 12T shows 108 megapixel, while the Xiaomi 12T Pro says 200 megapixels. While these are not the only things that make them distinct to each other, it is a very subtle difference that is really hard to spot. The highlight of the back panel is its main wide-angle camera, which is much bigger than other lenses. The camera bump of the Xiaomi 12T Pro is a little more pronounced, and its top section is a little flat and shows sound by Harman Kardon. Both devices are similarly sized, but the 12T Pro is a tad heavier. The devices are also available in 3 different colors: black, which I have right here, silver, and blue. The devices employ a very minimalistic look with smooth curved edges. At the top center of the screen is a tiny front-facing camera. Buttons are all located on the right side, while the Type-C port are at the bottom. Both devices have speakers at the top left and also at the bottom right corners. Again, if you're familiar with the overall design of the 12S series, these devices do not veer away much from its design philosophy. Sobrang simpleng tingnan, and for me, mas gusto ko yung ganitong design. Good design choice for them to maintain a very slim form factor and a simple yet elegant design. Now, when you take out the SIM tray, you'll notice that it can house 2 nano SIMs. Unfortunately, there is actually no way for you to expand the storage with another micro SD card. So if ever you're buying one, it's best to consider getting a variant with 256 gig of storage. Whether you're getting a 12T or a 12T Pro, get the one with the higher storage capacity, since you will not be able to expand your storage any further, assuming that you have the budget to do so. Now, let's move on to the chipset and everything that powers these two devices. The Xiaomi 12T is powered by a MediaTek Dimensity 8100 Ultra, which is basically the 8100 we know, but with slightly different configuration that favors turbo performance. The chip is produced at TSMC in 5nm for the 8100. Now, it packs also 8 gig LPDDR5 RAM with UFS 3.1 storage. 5G enabled itong Xiaomi 12T, just like the 12T Pro. Now, the 12T Pro is, it's a different beast. It's packed with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. It's far superior to the Xiaomi 12T with up to 3.2 GHz processor with ARM v9 Cortex-X2 technology, Adreno GPU, and Snapdragon X65 5G modern RF system. The chip is produced at TSMC in 4nm. Mas maliit yung chipset ito, no? Now, there are 2 RAM variants. There's 8 gig or 12 gig, and you also have a choice between 128 gig or 256 gig UFS 3.1 storage. Overall, when compared to each other, you know that you're getting more performance with the Xiaomi 12T Pro. Now, here's a quick summary of our performance benchmarks to prove that. Now, some of you may ask, okay na bang pang-gaming si Xiaomi 12T? Absolutely. In fact, it's better than I expected. I managed to run games like Tower of Fantasy and Battlefield at maximum settings with a relatively consistent and good frame rate. I think that if you're torn between two devices, the 12T and the 12T Pro, and you're short on budget, I suggest that you get the 12T, especially if your reason for buying one is mobile gaming. However, if you're after camera performance rather, you should get the Xiaomi 12T Pro instead. Why? And let's move on to cameras. Now here are the camera specs of the two devices. As you can see, the main difference lies in the main wide-angle camera, which is manufactured by Samsung. What you get on the Xiaomi 12T Pro is a faster camera that can definitely perform better in low light. It has slightly wider FOV and it can deliver better and sharper photos overall. The sensor installed on Xiaomi 12T Pro also has a technology called Xiaomi Pro Focus, which gives it the capability to do motion tracking focus and motion capture. It even has eye tracking capability and lets you shoot 8K and HDR10+ video. Now in terms of other lenses, both devices rock the same camera specs. So obviously, if there's one reason why you're paying extra on the 12T Pro, it is the camera. Again, kung camera lang hinahanap mo, it's best to get or pick the Xiaomi 12T Pro instead. Now, taking a look at the Xiaomi 12T, there's one thing that I mentioned earlier, which is about the auto or the Pro Focus feature. Now, if you take a look at this one, there doesn't seem to be a way for me to set that. I can't even find anything that mentions about Pro Focus. Nevertheless, I believe that this feature is really only inherent to the Xiaomi 12T Pro, but I could be wrong. It can be pushed via software update in the future on the 12T. But insofar as that feature is concerned, as at the time of the production of this video, it is only available on the 12T Pro. Now, if there's another thing that gives the 12T Pro some leverage over the 12T is its display. Now, while both look almost the same, the display of the 12T Pro has Dolby Vision, adaptive HDR, adaptive reading mode, SGS, and also low visual fatigue certification. You get all these extra certifications on the 12T Pro, making you pay more or extra. Again, better quality is equal to higher cost. Now, if sa tingin mo may sense and magiging helpful talaga tong mga features ito for you, especially if madalas mong gamitin yung phone mo, get what you believe can give you better run for your money. Now, in terms of sound quality, both sound really great by my standards. Although, mas buo yung tunog na binabato ng 12T Pro thanks to Harman Kardon. Now, this partnership has been going on for many years now. I think it's 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. And while I think na mas mahina ang sound ito compared to other smartphones I have reviewed or I've used in the past, mas dinig ko yung mga individual instruments on the 12T and 12T Pro. Not just on the 12T Pro, also on the 12T. Then again, iba pa rin talaga yung tunog na binibigay o binabato sa akin ng 12T Pro. So between the two, I really think that you're getting really better value for your money on the 12T Pro when it comes to sound. Lastly, let's talk about battery and charging. Now, to be honest, I've only had this for less than a week. So my experience with battery life is very, very limited. Now, there's so many things to consider when observing the battery life. However, now based on my very short experience, the Xiaomi 12T and 12T Pro's battery lasts around 16 hours and 15.5 hours respectively, with 20% more juice remaining. Now, these are of course bound to change over time. In terms of battery charging naman, you can fully charge these in 30 minutes with the included 120 watts charger. And yes, kasama yung charger out of the box. Charging time may change depending on battery health and whether or not you're using the phone while charging. So, these are my initial impressions of the Xiaomi 12T and 12T Pro. This is not yet my full review, but we're going to ask Xiaomi to let us use these devices for another week so we can write and publish our full review. We don't have really much time anymore to publish a review right away, but we usually request for about 2 weeks for us to really fully use the device before we can give our proper conclusion and verdict. But for my initial verdict is that these devices offer an incremental upgrade from the 12S series. Now, if you're coming from that series, I do not recommend that you get the 12T and 12T Pro. These are perfectly suited to those who currently have a Xiaomi 10 or 11 series. So yes, you can stick to your 2-year renewal cycle and upgrade when you think that your current phone is already aging. Now, at the time of the production of this video, we still do not have the price, pre-order details, and availability of these devices. Now, since we're allowed to publish this video on the day of the announcement, you should be seeing the full details, including price, in the description. If you're new to the channel, this is the best time for you to click that subscribe button and notification bell. This has been Gian, and I'll catch you in the next one. Salamat! Bye!